welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and this week I'm here with Jonah from Geeky Bubble to talk about the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer, which just came out recently-ish. I'm a
Yes,
little
ish.
behind.
And it was
But
so much to talk about.
yes, but I'm very, very excited. Jonah, the finale of Bad Batch is fresh. She just watched it because she's recording with her mom. So I'm super excited to get to talk about it because there's a lot going on in the trailer. And obviously, if you're someone who avoids trailers for spoilers, probably not the podcast for you this week. Um, but yeah, and first, Jonah, do you have oh my gosh, my voice is dying. Do you have any general thoughts about the
The
trailer
Bad
and the
Batch.
next season and
Oh
anything?
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, as you said, my mom and I are currently watching season 2 because last year I decided to take a break. We both decided to take a break. And so I stepped away from Star Wars, which was really good overall for my mental health because then I came back and I was just like, man, I miss this. And so we started watching the second season earlier this year. And so we've been loving what we've been watching. And I just myself only watched the last 3 episodes earlier today. And wow, what a trip, to say the least. But yeah, I am excited for what's to come in season 3. I don't know what we should be expecting in terms of like a grand finale, but I'm hoping everyone makes it out alive. but
Everyone we have left.
oh yeah, but I'm excited to see a few familiar faces come back. So yeah, it was a lot thrown into that trailer, and I'm thankful that we're getting this one last season to wrap things up.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm sad that it's ending, but I think, I'm sure it won't be. Maybe that'll be sort of the last we'll see of these particular characters in this format. But no character ever really goes away in Star Wars. There's always going to be something, whether it's a book or a comic in 10 years. They're always going to find their way back.
Yeah, I mean, look at the
Um,
Zilla Bees came back 10 years later.
yeah,
Wait,
um,
13 years later because it
13.
first premiered in 2010, those
Yeah.
episodes. So
So I'm excited to see how things go, and hopefully, like you said, hopefully we have a lot of survivors.
I know, you're joking.
I mean, Rebels, we had a pretty good survival rate,
Yeah,
so
that's true. It was a good survival rate.
but Clone Wars, so
Yeah.
gotta look at all the angles, I guess. um, but yeah, we have the season 3 trailer came out, and there's a lot, and I don't even know where to begin to theorize or anything. It felt like so much. It's like I have no idea what's gonna happen. You know. Um, yeah, I think so. One of the first things it opens with is they're doing a heist with one of those really cool, big rolly Republic tanks. I always liked those. I had a toy of those when I was a kid,
Oh.
and I like that one better than the Walker one because the legs always fell off of the Walker tank and it was really annoying. So the rolly one was much better. So it was super cool. I like seeing those come back all the time. They don't come back terribly much, but they're still working with Fee and they're doing little missions and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, it was interesting because at the time when I watched the trailer, I still hadn't seen the Pabu episode.
mm,
So when I saw Fee in there, I was like, "Oh, okay then. So she's with them. She's good." Because she was kind of like a questionable character at first. I wasn't sure whether to trust her fully or not. But I'm happy that we see her, that she's still willing to help them in whatever it is. I kind of wish that she had been part of the mission in the last part of season 2, but there's only so much you can ask of a person. So yeah, it's interesting that she's involved with them in some way. I'm not sure if she is well, I mean, they're there. They mentioned that they want to stay in Pabu, so I don't think she's expecting some sort of payment or anything. I think she's just doing it out of the willingness, the goodness of her heart. So that's
mhm.
nice that exists in Star Wars.
Yeah. Especially after the last finale, you gotta be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love Fee. I thought she was so cool. Like, just this kind of like piratey kind of woman, just a very like archaeologist-ish, but like treasure hunter, like morally gray, just awesome. I really, really enjoyed her, so I'm glad to see we're getting more of her, and I think it'll be really interesting to kind of see because she was pretty connected to Omega and Tech, obviously, and it'll be interesting to kind of, I don't know if we'll get the reaction of her hearing it the first time because I think there's a time jump, but kind of getting her kind of feelings about Omega being missing in Tech.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for those fanfics. I'm gonna look for the fanfiction because I know we're not gonna get it, and I wanna experience those feelings.
Yeah, and we see some more Rex.
He's there. I know. I was just so happy when he showed up in that Chuchi episode back in season 2, and he looked, like I said in my podcast, he looks so good. Because I love me some Rex, and that blue type of suit that he was wearing, very nice, very nice. I approve.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see him. I'm also, he's in where we see him in the Bad Batch is very different from where he is in Rebels. So I wonder if we'll start to see some of the, if not that transition, the beginnings of that transition, and if that's going to be like how that's kind of going to play out. We know Wolf is there. Wolf is also in the trailer, which is super exciting because I love Wolf. He's very cool.
And then we know from Rebels that he had a difficult time with his chip, or at least adjusting after having it removed, or or just coming to terms with what he and the rest of the clones did. And so I know one of the things my mom brought up, which was a really, really good point, that the end of the Bad Batch might not be as disastrous as we're thinking, because, we know where Rex, Wolf, and Gregor end up. It could be that something good, a positive thing happens, but just because of the fact that the clones accelerate in age, it gets to a point where, we've done what we can do. Maybe it's time we should just go off and do our own thing. And that's probably how they ended up on Selos, Selos. That's the name of the planet. So so it could be like at this point in time, they're just doing everything that they can, and then it gets to a point where it's just like, let's retire.
Yeah,
we've done what we can, and all the clones that we know have aged or died, and it's time for us to just kick back and appreciate what we've got left.
Yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to see kind of where Omega fits into that, because she's still really young. She doesn't age at a rapid rate. So it's like, what does she do when all of her brothers are aging so much faster than her?
Yeah. Or it could be, or it could be like the other side of the coin where everything goes wrong and we lose a lot of clones, and they have no choice but to hide away because that's what's best. That's the best thing that they can do. So yeah, there's two different sides to that, and we don't really know which one it's gonna fall on. So. But you're right, Omega ages normally. So where's she? And during that 20-year time span between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So it'll be interesting to learn more about her. I mean, we're not going to get those answers this season, but I hope her story continues after this last season.
Yeah. There's a lot, and I think it'll be interesting if, I wonder if we'll see, because at this point, Rex, Wolf, and Gregor, who we know are the 3 that end up in Rebels, haven't really connected at this point. So it'll be really interesting to see if we see those connections be made, and how they happen, and what makes it those 3 that decide to hang out.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of little very fast shots of different places. One of them is Teth from the Clone Wars, which was an interesting callback because it's not particularly connected to clones besides it having Clone Wars stuff happen there, which is just a monastery, old abandoned jungle planet. So interested to see what's going on there. I'm a little scared.
Yeah, so that was interesting because when I watched the trailer, and it's been a long time since I've seen Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, "That place looks so familiar. Why do I know this place? It's gonna kill me that I don't know what this is." I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night and, in a cold sweat because I remembered it randomly in a dream. But thankfully, it came to me like a few minutes into me, trying to recollect my memories, and I was so excited. I was like, "Yeah, I still remember Star Wars," because, things are just escape my memory sometimes. So yeah, I was super surprised to find out that that place is the same place that we see in the movie, and, there appears to be, like, some sort of pyre or something that's happening in front of it. Not sure what's going on there, but I wonder if it's connected to, someone that we'll see in the series who just, magically comes back, and I'm super excited that they're back. I don't wanna jump too far ahead if you're going in order, so
I mean, we can,
that's
we can jump ahead.
okay, good. Yeah, but
But
I
yeah,
wonder if
Ventress.
yeah, I wonder if it's connected to Ventress because we know, she was one of those characters in that movie. That's actually
Mhm,
when we first see that interaction between her and Rex.
mhm.
That was such a great introduction to his character too, finding a
Yeah.
way to like let Anakin and Ahsoka know that they were in danger without
Mhm.
really giving too much away. But yeah, I'm curious how Teth plays a part in this season
Mhm.
and whether it's solely just Bad Batch related or if it has something to do with her.
Yeah. That was when she was choking Rex, that was always when my little sister got scared and had to go to the bathroom when we went to see the
Oh.
movie. We saw it several times and my dad always missed that part because he had to take Sammy to go to the bathroom because she was
Oh.
scared of Ventress.
She was very formidable for sure.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because that is where we first meet Ventress, but as a character, she's more connected to like Dathomir. We know
Mm,
that's where her at least her body would be currently from
yeah.
Dark Disciple. So it's interesting to see if and why she goes back there, or if they're there because it was kind of like a separatist base, or like I don't know. Why Teth
Yeah.
is an interesting
Truth.
question. And I guess we'll find out very soon.
One of the many questions.
Yes. Um, we also see a little bit of Omega being in prison with Crosshair. Some shots of that, which obviously we knew from the finale.
Mhm.
But they're not. It's not like they're. We don't really see them like together much, like seeming to sit and talk. It's like passing each other small
Yeah.
conversations, but they're not
Mhm.
like cellmates or anything like that.
No. Yeah, and it's interesting that we got, like, 2 different shots of Omega. So there was Omega when she had her hair from season 2, and then there was a separate shot of Omega with, a longer hairstyle, to show the progression of time. How much
Mm-hmm.
time, we don't really know. It looks like maybe a year, which would suck for her to have been stuck there, but yeah, there's definitely been some progression of time.
Mm-hmm. And it does, because I have a hard time believing, especially Hunter or Wrecker would be like, oh, Mega's in prison, but like, let's just do some other missions first, then we'll get around to her.
No.
Like clearly, I'm sure they're working towards it. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to see whatever the period of time is, what exactly these other missions are for, and how that's going to relate to like Omega, or how they get to be doing other stuff. Because I'm
Mm,
sure Hunter's gut would have been like, let's break in,
yeah.
and get
Yeah.
it right away. But that's
And
not
I
realistic.
and I'm not saying that they don't have the skills, but they did lose Tech, who was very good at acquiring information from encrypted files and whatnot. And I'm sure Echo and whoever else they have in their roster of people who've been recruited can work those kinds of things, but they lost such an essential person that they might not be able to acquire the information fast enough, or the things that they need to be able to find Omega. So that's
Mhm.
another thing that's like a hurdle that they have to deal with.
Yeah, and it's because I think sometimes we forget because we've spent the most time with them as an audience, with them in the Bad Batch, mostly post Crosshair leaving. But the Bad Batch spent much more time, the four of them, the original four,
Mm-hmm.
than with Echo or than without Crosshair.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they were starting to finally kind of adapt to that missing link in Crosshair and having Omega and Echo when they lose Tech, who was, such an integral part of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how well they adapt, if they are able to adapt to that missing link and how that's going to
Mm-hmm.
affect things going forward.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then we also I didn't really notice this in the trailer, but it people have been pointing out that there are some of the shots of the Batch on mission, but it looks like Crosshair is in the background or there, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember noticing that and going, yes, Crosshair, yes, yes, this is exactly what we wanted.
yeah,
Coming
so
full
Crosshair
circle.
could be back, but then that opens a whole other door of
Yeah,
more
yeah,
questions.
yeah. Like,
Um,
why is he there, and why isn't Omega with them? Like, did
mhm.
he somehow escape, or did they both escape together, and somehow Omega got captured again? So many questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I will be very excited to see Crosshair get back with the Batch. I feel like all of his episodes in season 2, especially, were so interesting and showed such great development for his character. So it'll be really
Yeah.
interesting to see that reunion,
And
and him figuring out what happened to Tech, because I don't think he knows unless Omega
yeah.
told him, which I'm sure she would. But
Yeah. And I know I think some folks had commented on the fact that he had his old armor at one point. And I'm curious how no, I'm curious how he got his helmet back, because from what I remember of that Outpost episode, he didn't have it on him. So I wonder if if they happen to have a spare or something in the Marauder. But yeah, the fact that I think they also all look like their armor has been so worn out that you don't really see the original colors anymore from what I remember. But yeah, that will be interesting to explore, just their working together again, and just whatever hardships they've had to go through together to be able to get back to Omega.
um, yeah, and it's so interesting to me because the season is what, 15 episodes, so I'm kind of curious. Usually with Star Wars shows we only ever get like maybe the first half, if that, of clips in a trailer. So I wonder, like, how soon are we gonna get Omega back, and then like
Mm.
what else is gonna happen? Like it's so open.
Yeah, I know some folks, some people were like, we only saw Echo once. This means he's going to die. And I'm like, guys, it's just a 2.5, 3 minute trailer. They're not gonna give us everything. I mean, that could very well happen, but
hmm
just because he only shows up once in the trailer does not equate death.
Well, and he also could still be working with, like, he could have gone back to working with Rex and not with
Exactly. Yeah.
Hunter and Wrecker still. Oh
Yeah.
wow, it's just Hunter and Wrecker without Echo. I didn't process that.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be sad for them just to be, down to two members of the and Gonki, but then
and Gonki, they have Fee.
that's true, and Fee. So yes, and then being on Pabu, it's obviously not going to be the same. So yeah, they're doing everything they can with whatever resources they can get their hands on to get to Omega.
Yeah. And speaking of Pabu, Pabu does look to be in trouble a
Oh
little bit.
gosh, I know. Initially, because as some people were, online, they were saying, "Oh my gosh, Pablo's in trouble." And at the time, I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're referring to. And then when I saw the episode, I thought, oh no, they can't do this to Pablo. Like I fell in love with the place because my mom and I, we were born in Puerto Rico, and we know of the island life, and especially an island that's uh prone with seismic activity. So I was just like, man, this place is like Puerto Rico. I totally understand. Although I never personally experienced the earthquakes because I was always asleep when they happened. But yeah, I don't want anything to happen in this place. And I know that the mayor said, the empire will manage. There's nothing really here that the empire would want. But I'm like, they would want you. You guys are resources, human resources like that.
Mhm.
That they need labor. They need test subjects. They need whatever they could, whatever it is that the empire is planning or doing. That you guys are it. And so
Mhm.
it's not necessarily about you know, uh, mineral resources or anything like that. It's also look at that the people that got taken from that planet when the Zilla Beast had landed and
Mhm.
started attacking the town. Those people, were removed, and who knows where they are now. So,
Well, and you missed because you were taking your break. You missed when Pabu was coming out. Everyone was scared. It was on Scarif, and I don't know if that
oh,
was ever unconfirmed.
oh,
I don't know if we ever figured out that it's not on Scarif because I think Pabu's just the
oh,
name of the island.
oh, is
So
it?
I think that's what it is.
Oh, I
So
did not know that. I thought it
so
was the name
that
of the
was like
planet.
yeah, that was like the fear when the episode came out. I was
Oh.
like, is this Scarif? It's a beach planet. Are they gonna come build stuff on here?
Oh no, I didn't think about that. I did think of Scarif, but I honestly thought Pabu was the name of the planet. That I was just like, oh, okay, it's not Scarif at all. But if it's just the name of the island, oof.
Well, because I think because the island they have like the lower Pabu and the upper Pabu is what they
That's
call
right.
it. So that's why I think we
Oh
all thought it was just
yeah.
an island.
Oh, that's a great point. Oh no, more feels.
So you've been warned if that's the case.
Truth, yeah.
But yeah, as we see the like mysterious assassin clone, we met one of them
That's
in
right.
season 2. So
Yeah.
there's more of these guys.
Yeah, I was
Um,
hoping that they would pick up on that thread around this and the end of the season just cuz it was so ominous. Like what's going on? Are these
mhm.
have these guys been wiped and made to be like killing machines or have they been bred to be that way? Are they like a perfected version like of whatever what was it? It was Rex's generation 1 or something like that. I
Mhm.
forget what it is.
Yeah.
But is this new clone a different generation? And so I was hoping that they'd give us those answers, but no, that did not happen.
But yeah, maybe we will this time. There's another one. Could it
Yeah.
be Tech? Could they have mind wiped Tech?
Oh, that would be awful. I don't think I know people want Tech to come back, but I honestly don't think he will. Maybe that's just me thinking um that the way there was a lot that happened in season 2 that led me to believe that yeah, this is the end of the line for Tech
Hmm.
because that conversation he and Omega had was very telling and yeah, it just gave me that vibe that he's not going to come back. I mean, if he does, I will gladly take it. But yeah, given that Ventress is coming back in the same season, I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of clones it could be.
Oh, yes, it's
Cody went
true.
missing last season.
And it's funny because I honestly thought Cody had left. I thought he had gone AWOL, like
And
going with
maybe he
Rex.
did.
Yeah.
Or maybe,
Or maybe
you
he
know.
didn't, but then someone said, or he could have been taken. I was like, oh man, I didn't think about that possibility. So yeah, that's a scary thing to think about because you want good things for Cody. I know Cody's your favorite,
I love
right?
Cody.
So I know. So yeah, here's hoping that's not the case. But I
I,
think the guy in the armor is the clone that we see in the trailer that says they're all coming for you or something
hmm.
to that effect. So yeah, it's that clone. So I hope we get answers and I hope that, neither of our favorites are being controlled or mind wiped or anything
Yeah.
like that.
He wasn't in the trailer, but I do hope to see more Cody this season. Not just because he's my favorite, because I would like some closure on like what the heck happened to him. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad, I just want to know.
Yeah.
Actually, if it's bad, I might not want to know, to be honest. But
yeah.
We also see we're getting more Emperor this
Yeah.
season and some Red Guards, which I have a friend who loves the Red Guards, so it's gonna be very
Really?
excited. Yes.
Cool.
So very scary to see him. It's like
Yeah.
one thing when he shows up and it's like other people with lightsabers in the Force. Like, you might have a chance, but when it's just like normal people, it's a little scary. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's true. And obviously all of this is working towards, his whole cloning process and whatnot that we see the end result in Rise of Skywalker. And I'm very curious, like, what else are they experimenting? Like, what else are they doing? Like, obviously, this is not the only thing, and I'm just curious to find out if we even do find out what other crazy projects are happening that will affect the Bad Batch in this season, or even down the line in different properties in different shows or movies.
Yeah, because in a way, sometimes the Bad Batch, especially I think this season, they are like at some points they just care about their family, other clones, Omega, each other, and then they just kind of get thrown into all these conspiracies. Like they just kind of accidentally find the Zillo Beast, which is like opens a whole door into this whole other thing, and they keep kind of running into like these crazy things we see with whatever's going on with Ventress. I don't think they were looking for Ventress, but they're gonna find her, and they just kind of they keep bumping. So, sort of how it felt with like Din sometimes in The Mandalorian. He's just kind of worried about his kid and just bumping into all these like crazy galactic conflicts.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
man.
true.
So it'll be really interesting to see what they get thrown in the middle of this season.
Yeah.
And hopefully they come out the other end.
Yeah.
Unscathed.
Here's hoping.
We also know we're getting more Fennec and Cad Bane.
That's right.
Which is exciting. So they're two very awesome characters.
Yeah, and that is interesting because initially when we saw Fennec, we thought, oh no, this is Lama Su who's hired bounty hunters to get Omega. But then there was that little twist of finding out that it was actually Nala Se who had hired Fennec to protect Omega from Lama Su. So I'm curious to find out like why Fennec is back, like who's interested in hiring her and for what. Because obviously, we've come to love her, and you get a sense that she has a code of ethics, and honor and whatnot. So I hopefully we don't see her doing anything bad. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Cad Bane, we know he's up for anything. He's gonna shoot anyone, and he doesn't care. But yeah,
well, I'm kind of wondering if he's actually going to work with the Batch, because he just wherever the money is. So if they're doing jobs and getting money, maybe they're trying to hire some people to help them get Omega, and we get like a little A team together. Because now they're down quite a few people. So now they get a sniper through Fennec. Cad Bane and his droid are pretty good with the tech stuff. They broke into the Jedi vaults.
That is a good point. Although it'll be very awkward for Hunter to work with someone who almost killed him.
Well,
2 people.
That happens all the time.
That happens all the time. So. But yeah, that would be interesting. Assembling a little team there.
Well, and I also think when Fennec and Cad Bane fighting had very good banter, and I think Fennec and Cad Bane working together would be really funny.
That would. Oh man, I'm actually hope it goes in that direction, because that would be interesting for them to work with bounty hunters. Wasn't there an episode like that in the no, it wasn't. Wasn't it the Asajj Ventress episode? The bounty?
When she worked with
yeah. Everyone had like their different specialties. Yeah, that would be cool. I hope it goes that way.
And that's another thing. I know, I wouldn't be disappointed if it doesn't happen, but I would be interested in seeing Boba too. Not necessarily connected to Fennec or anything like that, because we know they don't really know each other at this point. But he is a clone and he is a bounty hunter. So if we're, doing lots of bounty hunter stuff.
Gotcha. I can
cool
imagine his name being dropped somewhere. But with the introduction of Emery, I want to say her name is, in season 2 as Omega's sister, I'm like, what? What's going on here? But yeah, it would be interesting to see Boba. Not sure in like what capacity, but yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing. We know we're getting more Emery Carr, and so that'll be really interesting.
She has a last name?
Yes, Carr. Karr.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're seeing more of her, and I don't know what her deal is. I have no idea.
I know. Part of me wants her to be like an ally that somehow she realizes what she's been doing is wrong, and I that would be cool. But yeah, I don't know what to expect from her.
Yeah, and it's interesting because she introduced herself to Omega as her sister, but we've seen her interact with other clones, and there's no inkling of that. So I wonder if she only considers Omega her sister, and why that would be, or if she does consider herself a sister to other clones and just doesn't care about them or what.
And she must have either she was accelerated in aging, or she was born way before the other clones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's much older than Omega and Boba. So, yeah. I'm like trying to work out the timeline in my head.
Still. Although, would Boba be a little older than Omega?
I want to say
he was about Omega's age, but in the Clone Wars. Like early in the Clone Wars.
Because I'm actually reading through Dark Disciple right now at a very, very slow molasses-like pace. And he shows up in that book. Rereading, I should say, because I had read it first when it was published. But yeah, he gave me the impression that he's like 16 in that book, 17 maybe, and that was right before Order 66. So yeah,
well, because he was part of the payment plan for Django.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he would have been like, they like got the DNA, gave him Boba, and then like started doing all their experimenting that led to like Omega and all the other clones and whatever else.
Yeah. Interesting. I want a novel. Give me a Jango Fett novel. Like, I want to know these details.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ventress, who we know is in the season, did work with Boba. Like I said, in Dark Disciple, he's in Dark Disciple, and in that episode that we were just talking about, the Clone Wars. So
yeah,
there are the connections in place. Yeah, I was trying to think. Make sure we got. One last fight was their little tagline.
Yes, that's right.
Very Rebels.
Very Rebels. It was the first thing that came to my mind with one last lesson. I was like, oh no, they're doing it to us all over again. No, I can't go through this. But yeah, that was very interesting. It does give you the sense that maybe someone won't come out alive. Hunter, maybe.
I mean, like you said earlier, it could be last fight, in the bad way, or last fight, and they're done. They're like, you know what, I'm gonna go retire somewhere.
Yeah. So we will see. But yeah, one last fight, one last lesson. Star Wars just really likes to crush our hearts.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's so much. Just like, you could probably do a full breakdown of like every shot in the trailer.
Yeah.
Be there for hours. But there's so much. I'm mostly honestly excited. I'm really excited for Ventress. She looks awesome.
Yeah.
She has her yellow lightsaber back. and what's going on.
Yeah, I'm interested to find out because obviously in wanting to reread Dark Disciple, I want to like find little things here and there like that could possibly point as to what brings her back. Obviously, getting a water burial in her on her home planet is a contributing factor. But yeah, I'm curious how is this going to align with Dark Disciple? Because my first instinct when I saw Ventress was obviously being excited and then being, oh no, they did something to Dark Disciple.
They took Sal's book
that
away.
is one of my favorite books. I know that's Sal's favorite book. And I love that book. There's so much I love about that book, and I'm just
and Brad Rouse, he said it aligns with Dark Disciple.
Yes, it does align. So I'm hoping
she's buried on the necromancy planet, so it's
yeah.
Well, and we know ever since she died, like it has always been a plan to bring her back. Filoni talked about bringing her back in Resistance as like an older woman.
Yes.
So it's this is something that didn't come out of the blue. Like it's something
that's been in the works or something that's been there in the back of their minds for sure.
So I'm curious, and we do know from Obi-Wan Kenobi that Quinlan's still kicking.
Yes. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that possibility because they were great. They were a great pair.
Yes. But then that raises the question: does he know she's alive? Does
That is a great question. And yeah, I'm curious like what the timeline is here. And I know Star Wars isn't all that great when it comes to giving us like specific times as to like when things are happening. But I really hope we get something because Ventress died before Order 66.
Yeah, like right at the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and obviously like when did she come back? Like was this an immediate thing, like the moment, like maybe moments after Voss left she came back, or was this like over time?
She's like calling his name, he can't hear her. He's just walking, she's like, Voss.
I know. And so yeah, I'm curious, like has she had to deal with clones or even Inquisitors coming after her because of her Force sensitivity? So yeah.
Wait, do we have Inquisitors yet? When do they become a thing?
That actually is a great question.
We're still like
at the very, very beginning. Yeah,
we're still in Bad Batch in the first couple of years.
I keep forgetting that that's the case. Yeah,
there's definitely an answer in a comic book I haven't read.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wonder if it's in the Vader comic because I know that the whole Inquisitorius thing is shows up there. But yeah, I'm clones for sure. Maybe that's why she reacted that way to Hunter. If we are to believe that the connection between Hunter and Wrecker fighting is related to Ventress in that scene, then yeah, and maybe she recognizes the clones as like a bad thing because
she says to someone she didn't want to kill them, but
you're making it very tempting, which is a very Ventress thing to say. I don't know whether we'll see Voss. I want to see it. I want that to be the case. Like my heart will be so happy if Quinlan shows up. But if not, I would at least want either a direct reference to him or an indirect reference to him, because you can't bring Ventress back and not mention Quinlan. Like there has to be some sort of mention or indirect mention, because come on, that novel was fantastic.
I'm just so curious to see what she's gonna do. Like, is she going to be an obstacle to the Bad Batch, so they just kind of have to get out of the way, or is she going to be someone that will maybe help them in some way? We know that she has some, compassion, especially I think in that bounty episode we talked about earlier. She has a lot of compassion for that young girl. Could she, see Omega that way too?
True.
And maybe she'll reunite with Rex, and that would be really interesting.
That would be very interesting. Oh man, like I would love to see that happen, but it would be hilarious for him to call her although she's not hairless anymore. But didn't Ahsoka call her a hairless
Hairless harpy.
Harpy? Good times. But yeah, that would be a very interesting meeting between those two characters. Yeah, and I don't know where she would go from there. I hope it's not like a temporary thing, like she can't leave the planet, otherwise she'll
Mhm.
disappear or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Like she's tethered to
And then she's
Dathomir.
stuck there when Maul gets there, and that's no fun.
Oh
You
no,
don't want
not
to
at
hang out with
all.
that guy.
But yeah, I'm assuming, if she's brought back to stay, and so yeah, whether what she goes off doing, I hope she goes off to have oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a very weird reference here, but there was a show called Green Lantern, the animated series, and at the very end of that show, there's a character named Razor who goes off into the galaxy to find his true love, who ended up dying, Aya. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that's what happens. That she becomes this, like, I need to find Quinlan sort of a thing.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
it's interesting, to see what she's up to. Because if it wasn't immediate, I think Dark Sub takes place very close to the end of the Clone Wars. So if she's, it takes a couple months or a year, she could be waking up into a galaxy totally different than the one she left.
Yeah, it's super different.
And it's really interesting, if we get to maybe not here, maybe this will springboard into other adventure stories. We can see how she would handle that and what she's up to. Is she going to just be a bounty hunter again? She's, pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Is she,
I know.
we know Quinlan's helping the path
Yes,
for the
that's
young
right.
Jedi kids. Is
Yeah.
she gonna find him and help with that? Like,
I think it would be hilarious to see her reaction to Dooku, like her finding out what happened to Dooku. I think she would like that.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So yeah,
I don't think she would like that it was Anakin.
No,
I don't think she was ever an
no.
Anakin fan.
Yeah, no.
Like, at least Obi-Wan, they had like a banter. I think she just didn't like Anakin.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see her. Yeah, she definitely has to have either a comic, a novel, or a TV series, because that woman deserves it.
Yeah, well, and because she's in an interesting place too, where she was, she was working with the Separatists for so long, and no one won the Clone Wars except Palpatine, but the Separatists really lost the Clone Wars.
Big
Like
time.
all of them died.
Yeah.
So like Grievous, Dooku, all like New Gunray, all those guys that Ventress is working with are gone, and I think she would be very happy about that. But then she's also in this in this new galaxy where there's this empire controlling everything, hunting people like her, and there's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, here's hoping good things for Ventress. Ventress and Quinlan.
Yes. Yeah, she's such an amazing character, and I'm glad she's getting another chance to do more stuff.
True.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. I'm very excited for these. It's coming very fast. I feel like this is the quickest first trailer to show premiere.
Yeah,
window.
It's been such a trend for studios to release trailers a month before the series premiere or season premiere. So, because I've been noticing that a lot, where the show I watched, I forget what it's called now, but I don't even remember what show I'm referring to. But I know that there was a show that I was like a month beforehand, we got the trailer, and then it premiered a month later. So yeah, it's just interesting to see that that's the way now. But yeah, I'm excited to get that in a couple of weeks now. And my mom and I planned it perfectly because we're gonna finish our podcasting of season 2 this weekend. So that's a little break in between before we start back up with season 3.
Really, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
I wish your mom a lot of luck.
I know.
It's a rough ride.
I'm going to have to get her to watch those 3 episodes this weekend, and I don't know whether she will want to finish them, because the moment something happens that doesn't go her way, she's like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to know. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so I'm going to have to try to convince her to watch it.
Does she like know? Does she know about?
You know, I actually had told her. I had told her what happened at the end when it happened. Because I was like, "Ma, do you know what they did in the Bad Batch? Do you know?" And I told her, and she's like, "No, I don't like it. I don't want to see it." But her memory, I mean, she has a great memory, but sometimes she just forgets certain things, and I have a feeling she might have forgotten. She might have like wiped it from her mind. So yeah, so I will see come Saturday whether she remembers or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Bad Batch, and I'm excited to find out what our next Star Wars animated show will be. I know we have Tales of the Jedi, but that's a little different than like the more linear stories.
Gotcha. And there's only been one season of Tales of the Jedi, right? Or has there
Yeah,
been
but
more?
season 2 is coming out this year.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. I wasn't sure whether it had come out already, and it's Vision season 2 that came out. I have to
Yes.
watch that still.
Oh, Vision season 2 is so good.
Oh,
So good.
cool.
I
Very
like it a
nice.
lot.
Very good to hear.
Yeah, so, Tales of the Jedi is a really fun anthology. I love anthologies, but I'm looking forward to whatever the next, like, linear narrative story will be from Star Wars Animation, because they always deliver the best.
Yeah, and they haven't announced anything or
No, but
alluded to anything.
I don't know if they announced Bad Batch till, like, after Clone Wars Season 7 finished.
Oh, I gotcha.
So maybe, like, it'll finish and we'll, and, like, with Clone Wars, like, Bad Batch jumped off from it, so maybe we'll get something jumping off. Maybe it'll be Ventress.
I hope
jumping
so.
off from this.
That would be amazing. Oh man, please, 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 please let that be the case. But yeah, I think what else is coming out this year? Acolyte.
The Acolyte trailer that I saw at Celebration was like, I can't even begin. It was amazing. I think Acolyte is my most hyped up show this year.
That hasn't been released to the public, has it?
No.
Oh, okay, because I haven't seen anything.
They showed this to. I'm very excited for them to release it to the public because it's totally amazing. I'm so excited.
Cool.
For that. And I love the High Republic, so it helps. And then I think Skeleton Crew is supposed to come out this year.
Skeleton Crew. My gosh, I kept thinking Skull Crew, and I'm like, that's not it.
You're close. That we also saw that trailer at Celebration. That looked really good.
Oh, cool.
I liked it a lot. It was because for me, I like when they're colorful things, when they're aliens, and when we get to see like kind of the mundane everyday lives of like the normal Star Wars people, and either all that was in the Skeleton Crew trailer.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah, Tales season 2 this year, and I think that's it.
Gotcha.
It's a lot.
Are you planning to go to Japan for the next celebration?
So much money.
Right? It's crazy. It's a crazy amount of money, and I would do it if I didn't think, if I didn't care about having a retirement savings or something. But yeah, I just I can't pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, if I got like a panel or something, I would look at it. But yeah, and even like if I'm gonna spend the money, just the travel and boarding alone for Japan is so much. And if I'm gonna do that, I want to like see Japan. Because even with London, I was like, oh yeah, London's cool, but like Celebration, I was happy to just do Celebration in London. But I feel like Japan, I would want to
explore more of it. I gotcha.
It was when I came back and they're like, oh, you're in London, how was it? And I'm like, it was fine. They had a train there from the airport.
Yeah, I'm hesitant about the language barrier, the money, obviously. And then knowing my luck, because it's very bad luck often, there'll be like an earthquake or something. So I don't want that to happen while I'm there. So it's probably best that I don't go there because I feel like I bring the bad luck with me. Yeah. So
I'm sure the next one will come back to the States and then.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would hope that's the case because then that would be a little bit more, that would be easier to work with.
I'm sure. I think it'll be Orlando.
Yeah, and I didn't tune in to the last celebration, which was at Anaheim, right? London. London. Yeah, so the one prior to that. Yeah, so for both of them, I think I tuned them out because of my frustrations over having Rebels be live action. But that has long since I finally put that stuff away. But yeah, I'm excited for the next celebration that's possibly within the States or in Canada. I would do Canada.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Have
Toronto.
they done one in Canada?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. But it would be cool though if they do it
It
in
would, yeah.
Toronto.
It
The
would be actually cool. It would be really
Yeah.
cold.
Oh, if they do it in Vancouver, we have to fly over there. So, but yeah, I'm excited either way.
Yeah. Even though I probably won't be at this coming celebration, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it. All the trailers that they do release, and then the ones that people post on Twitter that get taken down in like 30 minutes.
I know. We just want to know. We just want to
Yeah.
be
Well, and
involved.
it's really interesting because the Bad Batch trailer we saw at Celebration that wasn't released was very different from this
Mm.
one, but not in that they showed us more. Like the one they released way more. Like there's no Ventress, no Cad Bane
Oh
in the
no, they
old one.
wouldn't
I
have.
think Wolf was in the old one,
Okay,
but that was like the only like kind of reveal of that one.
gotcha.
We saw a little bit more of Omega's hair and Crosshair
Oh,
in
okay,
prison in that
got
first
it.
one. But
Yeah.
it was just like because I was like the Bad Batch season 2 trailer was basically the same trailer but like a little extended, where it
Mm,
was just like just different trailers, which is really
gotcha.
interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited about the future of Star Wars. For a little while there, I was like, I don't know, but I'm excited again. I'm in the hype train again.
Yeah, you had to take a break, cool down,
Yeah,
get back in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We have a lot of shows coming this year, and then more movies and more shows. Andor season 2. What else?
Oh yeah, I
Ahsoka
still need
season
to watch
2.
Andor. I still need
Oh,
to do that.
Andor's amazing. Andor's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
That I love that show a lot. That's a great show.
Gotcha. Yeah, I managed to watch the third season of Mandalorian, so I've got that checked off. And I really liked it. I actually enjoyed it. I'm curious to see what this movie, because
Mhm.
they put something on StarWars.com about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how that develops and what kind of audience that pulls in.
Mhm.
Because it's a bit a Disney Plus property, so yeah, it'll be interesting to
But
see
it's
how it
also like the
translates.
biggest Disney Plus
Oh, well, yeah, yeah,
property.
yeah.
So,
So, yeah, it'll still be
um,
interesting.
yeah. I mean, it'll be the Baby Yoda movie
Oh,
for 90% of people when it comes out.
it's funny how I still call him Baby Yoda. The other day I
Yeah,
was watching I was
yeah.
watching the behind the scenes of the making of Percy Jackson, and he ended up getting a birthday present in a Grogu bag, and I was like, "Oh, Baby Yoda."
Oh, Percy Jackson was such a good show too.
So good. I really liked it. I wish they could have, played around with it a little bit more. Added a few more things in there, like more flashbacks for the other characters, like Annabeth
Mhm.
and Grover. Granted, I have not read the rest of the books because it's been, and
Mm.
I think I read Sea of Monsters, but that was like decades ago. But the rest of them I have not read, so I don't know whether they explore.
Yeah,
Um,
I religiously read those books over and over
oh,
again in middle and high
cool.
school. I went to summer camp with some friends and we had it's over there. We would make our own like bead necklaces with something that happened each year at camp, like our own
Oh.
version of it. So like obsessed with Percy Jackson.
Oh, that's
So
so
I
cool.
I following the format of this one, I assume we're gonna get more flashbacks because it delves into that a little bit more in future
Gotcha,
seasons.
gotcha. Yeah, I think it was really well done. I really liked it.
So that was a really good
Mm,
show. There's a lot of good stuff coming out.
lots of good
Star
stuff.
Wars and not, and I'm very
Yeah.
excited. um, yeah, well, I think that was a good discussion of the trailer. We're only a couple weeks away from getting to discuss the show, which is weird to think about, but it's coming fast. But yeah, so Jonah, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
For Star Wars Geek Girl, you can find StarWarsGeekGirl.com. This website, Twitter, and Instagram are at SW Geek Girl, and the Facebook page is Star Wars Geek Girl. For me personally, I'm on Instagram and TikTok is at Spectre_5, and on Twitter is at Zoika. Where can they find Geeky Bubble and you, Jonah?
I love your Twitter username, by the way.
Thank you.
I keep forgetting to tell you that, but now that I saw it, I'm like, I gotta let her know it's the best thing ever.
Thank you. Well, because I was gonna do just Ahsoka Tano, but that was taken. So
Oh,
Azoika.
I gotcha. But yeah, you can find my podcast, The Geeky Bubble, on Twitter and Instagram with the handle The Geeky Bubble. And you can also find me on Twitter with the handle at Hola Jonah.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We will be able to discuss the Bad Batch in a couple weeks, and I'm very excited for that. But we will see you in the future. May the force be with you, and goodbye.